don't really know how else I'm going to start this. It's probably easiest to just jump right into it. Hey, hi everyone. Hello.
Hello.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the UUR, a Severance podcast. It's me, Rodnesha. I'm here with Kali.
Hello.
We're doing a very special episode today, if that's what we want to call it. Oh, should we call our off-season episodes very special episodes, or does that not work when all of them are very special episodes? No?
I mean, well,
we don't have to do it.
I mean, they can all be very special, I guess. You mean like as a name?
No, it doesn't
like
work.
As a mid-season?
It doesn't work. The squint in your eye tells me it doesn't work.
I'm just not following.
Well, it's fine. I'm tired and ideas sound right to me right now, but again, I can tell they must not be. Anyway, guys, this one can be a very special episode because we are coming to you guys with our not usual recap setup or theory setup. We're just going to talk to you guys today about our experience getting to go to PaleyFest, and more importantly, getting to be a part of the red carpet press team.
Ooh.
Which is still insane to stay. Wow. Still insane to say. I did it. I got it out there. We're recording on our not usual schedule, guys. So it's nighttime. We both would rather be in bed with covers up to our neck, but we're here with you guys because we want to get y'all the deets. We know a lot of people have been asking, what was it like? What did y'all do? Some people who maybe aren't following us on all the social platforms, or I don't know, just have been tuning in here and there, aren't quite sure who we got to talk to. So we're just going to download all of that today. But yeah, let's just go ahead and dive right in. And we'll start, I guess, with how we even got to a place where this could even happen. I'm going to default to Kali for a good chunk of this because most of this was based on a lot of the exchanges she got to have.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, how did we even get to the red carpet?
Well, first of all, I know we've gotten a lot of followers via Blue Sky, but we also have gotten a lot from all over the place. So if you are not on Blue Sky, Ben Stiller happens to be very active.
Highly active. Cannot stress it enough. Very active, to your point.
So when he first announced that Severance would be opening up PaleyFest, Rodnesha and I had been talking, if you have followed my saga of being so upset about not going to the season 1 finale screening that was through SAG with Rodnesha. The first time, we had been hoping for another opportunity like that, but PaleyFest obviously is a much bigger event than a small SAG screening for SAG actors and a +1, right? So as soon as it was announced, I immediately looked at the prices and was like, damn, Severance not for the people no more. We not going. I don't know about you, but I can't afford this.
Yeah, I think it was like early morning at work. We both were like, are you looking? I'm looking. And we both saw those ticket prices at the same time. And it was like,
what?
No.
Yeah. I was like, I guess the dream is dead. And so on a whim, I just retweeted, but it's not a tweet. They call it skeets, and I hate that.
I'm still not on the skeet. I can't do it.
But I reposted it and I quoted it and I said,
quote post.
I said, manifesting press passes. That's all I said. And I kid you not, within like a minute, Ben Stiller was like, let's make it happen. And so naturally we freaked out. And I was like, are you seeing this? Oh my gosh, what?
Did not seem real.
And so, we just like discussed very quickly how to say thank you in a professional manner.
Once we got past our very unprofessional reaction, which was, holy crap. Oh my God. Yeah.
So then we didn't hear anything. And then it was the whole, like, do we DM him? What do we? And so long story short, we DM'd him and he was like, yeah, of course. Here's my people, here's my email, here's this, right? So we sent an email and then that person should I say the people or no?
Maybe not just for
Okay.
privacy, I
Yeah,
suppose.
I was like, do I say it? Anyway, she connected us with the Apple
Mm-hmm.
team. Was a whole bunch of people in charge of Apple Press. And then it was more waiting. And then we were like, what's going on? And then they said, here, fill this out. And it was the press pass application through PaleyFest. Now, this I had already filled out
Mm-hmm.
prior to Ben responding to the quote. And it is your run of the mill application asking what press outlet are you from, and saying, just what events you want to go to. And then I guess they just decide if they think you're a big enough press outlet to allow to attend. And it's only one person per outlet. So I just put a little explanation on that first one, like, hey, so this is going to sound crazy, but Ben Stiller said
I just said we could
maybe
come.
possibly we could get press passes. We're a podcast, we're a duo, so it really wouldn't make sense for it to just be one of us. It should be both of us. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. Right. So then I was like, Rodnesha, this is the same thing we already filled out. Do I fill it out again? So I asked them and they're like, yeah, just one of you just fill it out and it's okay. And we'll just have Paley flag it as Ben's special request. So we were like, oh, special request.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
that's so fun.
Oh, my.
But of course my anxiety wouldn't let me just like fill it out and say nothing. So I copy pasted the entire email chain up until that point into the application, just in case.
Leave nothing to chance. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that was the that was the process. But before they sent us the press pass application, it was surprisingly easy to find, at least for someone who is not in broadcasting or journalism or anything
Mm-hmm.
like that, and never does any of these things like
True.
this. So I was like, oh, well, this was easy for just a random person to find. So, note to self, if you have an up and coming like broadcasting situation and you want to try that thing,
Mm-hmm.
just Google.
Google. Sometimes easier than you think. How
Yeah.
long about was it from the time Paley was announced to when we knew for sure we were
Well,
going?
I mean, when was Paley announced? In January?
Yeah. I want to
So
say
the
end of
entire
January.
time.
Yeah.
Because we weren't confirmed. We didn't get confirmation until, what was that? The week,
The
the
Friday.
Friday before.
Mm-hmm. Or
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. The week
Yeah, the
before.
week before, the Friday before. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because when we recorded that episode, we had just found out. We had
Yeah.
just finally confirmed. Yeah. So that was stressful, but
Yes.
yeah.
That's what I wanted to convey because a few people I had mentioned to at work, I was like, I think that day that we got excited about Ben replying to us on Blue Sky, I like came into work and was like, holy crap, holy crap. Oh my gosh. And everybody's like, what?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I don't want to say because I don't want to jinx it, but also like, oh, this is a big deal. So I didn't tell everybody. I told a couple of people that I'm closer to in the office what was going on. And because we had to wait for weeks, literally for weeks, my coworkers were asking me week after week, are you guys going? Did you find out? Did you get your passes? Are you? And every week I'd have to be like, we're in communication. We're still waiting. And I feel like honestly, as we were in that week before, I feel like we were both kind of like, oh no, are we not going to
Oh,
go?
this is not gonna happen. Oh no, this is not gonna happen. Which is so funny because we were one of the emails we were told like, oh, we got to see if there's still space with the press team,
Right, right.
which I realized later there wasn't still space with the press team because I've seen like videos from other people that were in the press line with us that were coming from much closer, right? So most
Mm-hmm.
of the press people were way, way closer
Yeah.
in the actual theater. However, we also were not the last ones added last minute,
We were
clearly, because
not.
there were press people up with us too.
We were not. There were people
There,
after us.
yeah, yeah. So, so I was like, oh, this is silly because they know the deal is we just give them another random seat. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. But fortunately, We did make it. We did press. And I think it was a push out of our comfort zone for both of us of like, because we're both trying to figure out what's the line of like a good amount of time before following up versus like being a pest and nagging and like, what's too much, what's not enough. And I mean, I think we found the balance, but it definitely literally came down to the wire. But we kept trying to like give people time. It's like, oh, we know it's busy. They're doing a lot of press right now. They're out and about.
Yeah, I think it came down to like a spam issue. So at
True.
the end of it all, someone from Apple was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry." We ended up following up with Ben directly because that was the one where I was like, "Well, he said reach out if we have any issues, but is he just saying that or do we?" Okay, so then we reached out, and out of all of the people too, it's so funny. He's the quickest to respond. So he was like, "Oh yeah, let me follow up on that," and then like the same day we got a response from Apple just being like, "Oh my gosh, your emails were going to spam. Here's my phone number, blah, blah, blah." Everyone was really nice.
Yes. But yeah, God bless Ben Stiller for being one, very on top of response, and two, just being willing to like follow behind our our like requests. But honestly, like you said, everybody in each step was very accommodating. Nobody was rude. Nobody was like, oh, why are you guys bothering us? Everyone, like you said, it just ended up being a very minor issue. Yeah. But on our end, it was just like, oh no, oh no, oh no, we didn't make the cut. Oh no, we're not good enough. Okay, it's fine. It's fine.
This tiny little podcast.
Right?
What were we thinking?
The little podcast that could.
Why would they want us there?
But we made it. We made it. So that answers that question. So then once we find out we're going, and even I guess before we officially found out we were going, but just once we started getting the process going, we were like, oh, we gotta like be prepared to talk to people. And I remember not too long after I think you had your exchange with Ben, you were like, I'm going to start looking for mics because, and I didn't realize until we were talking about it later that like the red carpet part was a separate thing you could request from the screening.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, well, I'm over here thinking like, oh yeah, if they let us do it, not realizing, oh, we have requested that in addition to the screening. So then I was like, oh, shoot. Oh yeah, we're going to talk to people.
Right. And again, I said, let me look for mics. But at the same time, it didn't really click until much closer that I was like, oh, red carpet. You know how some red carpets have like stands for people to watch. I was thinking it was going to be like that. Like we're just going to be able to be there.
Right. And just see it. Exactly.
Like, let's just have a mic just in case there's some reason we have we have an opportunity to be like, oh my gosh, hey, would you mind answering a couple questions for our podcast? Not thinking that it was going to be a press line and us specifically in that line.
Yeah, no, I don't think. And we kept trying to figure it out too, right? We were like, where do you think we're going to fall into everything? Or how close do you think we're going to get? We had no idea what to expect. We were trying to just be prepared for any eventuality, but certainly didn't expect to be where we ended up being. So all of that kind of presented itself on the day. But to answer some questions I've seen, like we were not prepared to do this. We've never done this. So between the two of us, we have some camera gear. I do photography, so I have some camera, like some DSLRs that can do photo and video, obviously. I had a shotgun mic because I've done some video stuff. Kali had a camera, but then was like, I'd probably get better footage on my phone. So then we're like, what do we do about mics? What do we do about this? How do we probably need to bring tripods. Can we bring tripods? Oh, maybe we should do monopods. Like, we had no idea what space we were going to have, how mobile we would need to be. We're thinking we might need to be like flagging people down and ready to run up on the go and answer this.
Right. It's one of the articles that was another piece of prep is reading advice and tips. One of the articles I said was like, tip number 1, be aggressive. Like, don't be rude. Don't cut off people if they're already interviewing something, but you got to get out there. Don't be afraid to be loud and get somebody's attention. So I'm thinking we got to be flagging people down. And in actuality, it was very organized.
Very organized, like, yes.
They each had their assistant with them, and the assistant would go 1 or 2 people ahead and be like, oh, hey, do you want to talk to Tramel? Yes, we do. And then he would come ushering him in,
exactly.
And each one did that. And we were like, oh, this is nice. And the one person next to us, he was like, oh, I've been doing this for years. And he was kind of like giving us like a blow by blow of what to expect, which was nice.
It was very nice. And kind of like you were saying, I have heard, now granted, this is probably like the red carpets that are out in front of the Oscars and out in
Right.
front of like, kind of the big events. I have heard it gets aggressive, especially for
Yes.
photographers. I have heard like if you don't just like run up and like, yell out and get the attention towards you, someone's going to trample right past
Yeah.
you and do it themselves.
And
So,
that's a good point where something like Paley is it's a promotional event. They want all the actors, all the people involved to speak to as many people as possible. So
mm-hmm.
really like the only working against us was the time cut
Right.
off to start the screening, right?
Right.
So yeah, definitely different than like if it had been like an awards show or something where
Exactly.
those people really don't have to stop and do anything. They can literally
If
just
you
be like,
see
I'm
me,
gonna
you
take this
see
picture and
me. If you
walk.
don't,
Or
I go this way. Yeah.
yeah.
So I think the only thing really extra we ordered that we didn't already have were the kind of lapel mics,
Yeah.
which were very affordable. They're very plug and play into your phone or whatever device you have that can take a USB-C, I believe.
Yeah, and I was worried about it like not being enough or not being professional looking enough. But half of the people on the red carpet, they were either, influencers. I shouldn't say influence. Maybe I would say like
Content creators or
independent
independent.
outlets,
Yeah.
content creators. Yeah, yeah. So, a bunch of people had their tiny mics that you see people using on TikTok, and I got
Mm-hmm.
mine on TikTok, and their ring lights and
Mm-hmm.
the content creators stuff. So I was like, oh, okay, note to self for next time if there's a next time.
Fingers crossed. Fingers
Yeah.
crossed. But yeah, so our kit was not large. It did the job. It got the job done. We didn't have to do a lot of ordering of materials outside of it. And then the only other thing that we did prep wise was our questions, which we
Yeah.
definitely wanted to make sure were impressionable, to the point,
Hmm.
and catered to the person, essentially.
Yeah.
So we had a meeting, which that night it was another night like this where we were quite delirious and we're like, oh God, oh, come on, brain, you got to think of something.
Well, and you have to remember that this was all week 9,
Yeah.
week 10, right? So our schedule that you guys know if you're familiar, we record on Saturday, we divide and conquer. I do video, Rodnesha
Mm-hmm.
does audio, and
Mm-hmm.
it takes the entire time until
Yeah.
we release on Tuesday morning.
So when we
So
get it up on
it's like
Tuesday morning, we have been working till late Monday night
right,
getting it
right. And
ready.
so we're like late nights, and then we're Wednesday or something. I don't know. We were like, we got to do the
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah.
And we were like, then leading up to the day, we're like, oh, shoot, we're not going to have any type of time to watch and do notes Friday. We don't know how long we're going to be out at Paley. We have to do all this stuff Thursday. So the night before was a very late night too. Yeah.
I'm honestly
Yeah.
surprised we were coherent Friday because we had quite a few long nights with
Oh,
little
it
sleep.
was pure. Yeah, it was pure adrenaline. I'll talk about that more when we get into the
For
actual red
sure.
carpet lineup.
Do you still have our questions? I was going to say, I just thought of this now. It's like, oh,
Oh,
should we say some of the questions that we didn't get to ask on the carpet that
yeah,
we
yeah,
had
yeah.
prepped?
Yeah, let me pull them up.
Because we like I said, we literally thought of each person we might run into, or what would we say to Ben, what would we say to Dan, what would we say to Patricia. We wanted to have something that each of them could answer independently, and then we had a few collective questions as well. But we did get to chat with 6 of the 13 cast and production members that were there that night. So that means 7 we did not get to ask. So we could put
Right.
some of them to you guys now, just so you know what we had in mind.
Well, and we did have multiple questions for some of them
That's
too.
true too. That's true too.
We didn't know how many they were going to let us ask, and it was 2, but we didn't know. Do you want me to go through some?
Yeah, just it doesn't have to be all of them, but just to get an idea.
Well, one that I really am bummed that we didn't get to ask because I really like the ones that we made sure that we had kind of our lead into the question,
Mm-hmm.
had some notes about their character, right? So the one for Patricia Arquette was, we know Cobell excelled in high school as valedictorian, captain of her field hockey team, and president of the Goat Husbandry Club. What do you think hobbies are now when not managing the severed floor. Ooh, I really like that one. I really like that one.
know.
I'm disappointed we didn't get to ask her
And
that.
the thing that sucks too is that like Patricia Arquette, I feel like would have had a fun answer for us,
I agree.
and we'll never know what it is. Let's see. The one that I was gonna say, I personally, because you know me and the vending machines, right?
That's what I was gonna
I was
say.
very ready. Number one, we were just very ready to talk to Gwendolyn Christie, period. Like we
Oh my
literally
gosh.
spied her from feet away because
When
she's just so
she
tall and gorgeous.
Right, when she stepped on to the red carpet, it was like a glow. And it was like, there's Gwen. Gwen. There she is.
You're like pointing it
Because
out
obviously
subtly to
she's
me without trying to like be that person on the
right.
carpet press
She's
team.
taller than everyone, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
but my gosh, we were like, she's a goddess.
She's
She's like
radiant.
Amazonian idol. I just and then she was so close before they were like, okay, now it's time, and everybody started going. She was like,
Right
oh, she was
there.
2 people away. We were talking to Tramel. That was the last person, right?
Yes.
And then next to him was Dari Olofsson, and then the very next
Yes.
person was Gwendolyn
Gwendolyn.
Christie. Oh, we just need 10 more minutes. 10 more
We were
minutes.
so ready. It was such a bummer. And then, okay. Well, anyway, so the question I wanted to ask Gwendolyn was, we noticed that there's a vending machine placed within the rolling hills of mammalian nurturables. So what's on Lauren's snack list from the vending machine, or what's Lauren's favorite snack from the vending machine? I was very curious to see if she would have said that maybe they had some different snacks, just based on the department they're in and what they do, if it's maybe a little more raw material snack, or I don't know. I wanted to know what she would have had to say.
Yeah, I really I wanted that for you. I wanted you guys to have a vending machine moment. And then later on during the panel, she was talking about like what it was like to join the cast, being a fan, and she was talking about freaking out when she saw a vending machine like in props, and I was like, see, she would have had a bunch to say about the vending machine.
Let me just take a slight detour here and say a lot of people that night brought up the vending machines, and
It's true.
I just felt so valid because I was like, I can't be the only person who's obsessed with these vending machines and what's in them. Zach Cherry brought it up. I think Tramel maybe during one of the panels said something about it. Gwendolyn said something about it. I don't remember if Dan or Ben or somebody, I don't know, somebody else. But I each time I heard it, I was like, yes.
The vending
The vending
machine.
machines. Anyway, so that was one. Another one that I thought would have been fun that we could have asked question wise was for Dari, speaking of, who was next in line,
Mm-hmm. Oh
about
yeah.
the tattoos, because we were very
Yes.
intrigued by the frolic tattoo on his hand. So our question to him was going to be what other tats Mr. Drummond might possibly have, and where, question mark, if he wanted to go so far as to say where they might be. We'll never know once again. And now we surely won't know because he's dead. but
uh,
but yeah.
there's one that I like for Ben, which because we were limited to 2, I don't know that this one would have been asked even if we had a chance to speak to him, because it's really out there. We probably would have done a more directory question plus our fun one that we were doing for everybody.
Right.
We asked everybody about the perks. But I really like this one. Much like you, Rickon comes from a family of performers.
This was a good
If
one.
you could give Rickon one piece of career advice, what would it be? I really like that question.
Yeah.
It's very personal.
And then we had some really thought-provoking ones for Britt and for Adam. What was the one we had for Deechin?
Deechin was about the room. So, the accepted theory, the widely accepted theory is about that the rooms on the testing floor are about blocking out like fears. And so if you
That's
could
right.
use Severance to block out
Your personal
fear, what would it be? Originally, we were like, it's about trauma and stuff. And we're like, we don't want to ask her about her traumas.
Yeah, that's
Let's
a little
reword
personal.
This is wrong. She's going to be like, traumas? You didn't come here to go to therapy.
Right. That just gives you an idea of some of the things we were thinking, some of the places we went. And then obviously, again, those of you that are following us on socials, likely heard the ones that we did get to ask to Jen and Zach and Sarah and Tramel, Michael, Dan.
And Dan.
Is that it? Did I
That's
catch?
6. Yeah.
All right. I lose count. And like I said, we were very grateful for the 6 that we got. So let's talk day of, right? We did our question prep. We ordered materials. We get there. It's Friday. We have both taken time off from our day jobs to make sure that we are somewhat more rested and prepared. Just make sure nothing like got us behind schedule or, whatever last minute things we may need to cover.
Yeah.
So we both got there early because we were both worried about not getting there on time or whatever.
Parking.
So we're there probably about an hour before the actual check-in is. We go get food because we're both hungry, kind of gather ourselves. We're both like, oh, what's happening? We're here. This is it. And then we go to line up. And I just remember we find the press line. And the first thing I notice is like most of the guys in the line that are ahead of us are like clearly with the legit press outlets. They've got these giant, cases full of gear. Like some are carrying multiple that are like clearly these like giant tripods and C-stands and things that they've got to set up lights and cameras and professional mics and all that stuff. And they look so just by the book, like this is just another day. And then they're looking back at us like, huh. And I'm just like, uh-oh, we're in over our heads.
I was like, they must think we're in the wrong line. Also because like it was all like dudes in jeans and a black t-shirt.
Yep. Or like wearing all black period. And we're over here and are like, oh, we're going to reflect our lumen. Oh, we're going to parody characters. And it's like, what are they doing here? But I felt a little bit better because the longer we stood in line, some other people started lining up behind us. And we look back and we're seeing, like someone with a ring light stand and someone with just like their phone. And so I was like, okay, so it's not just us that are like not coming here with like, again, the major kit, right? I don't want to say that those people are amateurs because they may have done this multiple times, but like smaller setups.
Well, and I was going to say once we got in and I realized the split amongst the line, the people with all that gear were the photographers, right? Makes sense. But pretty much everyone who was interviewing, because not everyone who was interviewing was taking video either. So there were some people that were like audio only and they were just recording them on their phone. I'm pretty sure most, if not all of the people were recording on their phone. Now whether or not it was like a personal phone or like a company phone, that's probably the difference between like, the business different phone, outlets, Yeah. So it got less intimidating the longer we were there. And I think we kind of like hyped ourselves up like, no, we're here. We deserve to be here. We're supposed to be here.
We're supposed to be here. We're in this line. And so they start moving us through the line. We have to go through security. I think once we saw like security, I was like, and we saw the carpet, it was like, okay, this is really happening. Oh, wow. That looks really nice. Okay, this is happening. And everything, like Kali said earlier, was very orderly. They had numbered spaces. We would get a number. We'd be told where to stand. Really, they just kind of had our name or like a label in our space where we were supposed to go.
Yeah.
Now, because we were a smaller team, it was a tight space. We got in there and it was like, oh, okay, we got to figure out how both of us are going to be in here. And we're all kind of squished. And then at one point, somebody came by and was like, oh, we had someone not show up. So we're going to move some spaces down and give you guys a little more space. So we're like, yeah. And then literally like the person before us is where she stopped moving.
Right. We're like, oh, we don't get any more.
We don't get any more space.
It's okay. It's okay. We'll make it work. We are happy to be here. No complaints.
We're just happy to be here. So we're unpacking. We're getting our stuff out, figuring out what we want to use. I have like a moment where I'm just like, I have like decision paralysis where I'm like, do I use my camera? Do I use the gimbal? Do I use my phone? I don't know. I have all of it and I have things for all of it. And I don't know what happened, but I feel like my brain just like short circuited. I was like, I don't know what to pull out. I'm just, So I started pulling out my DSLR and putting it on the monopod and trying to frame up. And I was like, we're in too tight a space. I feel like this isn't going to work. The only reason I was apprehensive. So we had a gimbal type camera essentially, but a friend loaned it to me and I hadn't used it much prior to that other than like just testing it out in my room the day of. So my fear was if I pull this camera out and I start using it and something goes a wonky and I don't know how to fix it, then I'm going to panic mid people coming through the line. So I wanted to try to use the tools I knew first, but That didn't work. So I was like, you know what? This is small. It's portable. I'll be able to move with it. We'll just see how it goes. It actually ended up working out fine. There were a couple of times where the tracking on it fixated on something else that was moving around in the background instead of the person, but that was easily adjustable. We worked around it. You had your phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Once we got everything set up, we just kind of waited till people started coming down the carpet. I don't know what time it was when that happened.
I think they actually started early.
Did they start? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, Jen Telek was the first person to kind of start shooting down the carpet. And she made pretty good pace and time. Like you said, she got to every person. She was very, professional and presentable with each person. I loved her gloves. And I didn't get to tell her, and I'm still mad about it. She had an amazing outfit and her gloves were sick. And I freaked Kali out because I was like, when you talk to her, I'm going to tell her that her gloves are snatched. And you were like, what? I was like, I'll say it at the end. It's fine. Like unnecessarily caused you anxiety. Like, what are you talking about? And then I didn't even say it.
Yeah, you didn't say it. You didn't say it. And I was sitting here trying to rehearse the question. Because first of all, we were like, who's going to go first? Who are you going to do it? And I was like, you're going to go first. So obviously you're going to go first. You're the actor. You are more closer to this.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to go first. And then I'm going to feel better. And then you were like, but it's Jen. You love Devin. I was like, oh, I do love Devin. Okay. Okay, I'll go first. So I was like standing there rehearsing my question in my head. And she's just like, snatch, don't snatch. I was like, Rodnesha, shut up. She was like, I'm sorry. This is how I deal with my anxiety. I was like, I'm trying to focus. I was like, oh my gosh, you're not helping. I was like, shut up.
I can't believe I am.
She was having a whole conversation with herself.
I was. And again, I don't know why. In that moment, I was like, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say da-da-da. I don't know. It was a moment. And then she left and I didn't say it. And I was like, crap, I didn't say it. I wanted to say it so bad.
Her assistant, by the way, was really fun. She would like go up like 2 people ahead and she's like listening to Jen's answers and like rolling her eyes when she thought something was silly and like she was chatting us up. And, and then she was like, Jen had, she also, man, she looked so great. She had on these ice cream earrings in the red carpet that kept falling off. And so her assistant was like, wait, are you video? Are you audio? We were like, we're video. She's like, okay, I'm gonna put these earrings back on before. So she looks, and then she's like, where's the other earring? I just had it. And we're like, no, she took it off. It's in her glove. It's in her glove. And so she's like freaking out about the earring. And then it was so funny because by the time the panel happened, she had a new set of earrings. I was like, that assistant just went shopping.
So the people we got to speak with were really great. Everybody was very hospitable and welcoming. We had fun little moments. Were there any favorite moments for you with any of the people we got to speak with?
Oh, Michael Chernis, just his excitement over talking to the UUR pod.
Yes.
It was wonderful. And then Dan's Willy Wonka moment. He was talking about indoor skydiving was so funny.
That one was mine.
He was so animated.
He was super animated. He literally like got into the like in-flight, because it started off as a story about him going indoor skydiving and then it turned into Willy Wonka perk for the innies. But just the fact that he immediately jumped into this character and is trying to visually illustrate, that was my favorite moment. I was like, this is so perfect. And then also, I was surprised by how sincerely moved Zach Cherry was.
Yeah.
When we were telling him at the end of his interview how much we appreciated the work that he put in acting wise with his character. I think he was a little taken aback, but I was just like, oh, that was just a really sincere, nice moment from him.
Yeah.
But in general, everybody we talked to was great. 10 out of 10 would recommend. So once we got past press, I think we had not really bobbles, but it's like with each person we spoke with, obviously it was like, okay, we're getting the hang of it more. We're able to fly in, more easily. And then it was over. It's like by the time we got to Trammell, it was like, we're on it. And then it was like, and it's done. But and then we had to quickly pack up our stuff and get inside.
Oh gosh, and then had to run.
We were like 3 stories up and we had to run up the stairs.
Yeah, and they started flashing the lights.
They did.
To get to your seat. And they were like, 4 minutes. And we're like, no.
We're like, wait.
And it's like, obviously, we've already seen it at this time, but no one wants to be that person. Right. Especially because we have like camera bags and stuff. Like, we don't want to be lugging and like stepping over people. But we made it.
And we lucked out being in a row that wasn't like heavily populated and we were right on the end. So slipped right in, got there in time, everything worked out. Screening was great. I mean, you guys have seen the episode, but to see it in a group and get that kind of movie theater experience was just, it's so fun.
Excellent.
The panel afterwards was hosted by Ben Schwartz, which was probably one of my favorite things. I love him. And my immediate thought was Parks and Rec reunion, because I'm sorry, he will never not be John Ralphio to me, just the way Adam Scott will never not be Ben. So just is what it is. Anyway, he hosted a lot of the questions he asked. We were like, hey, those are questions we were going to ask.
Yeah, it's so funny. Afterwards, I told Rodnesha, I was like, there's been many a time where I've watched an interview or something with Ben Schwartz and been like, we would be great friends. And then he asked a bunch of the questions that we wanted to ask. Mm-hmm. And I was like, see, it's just a same wavelength situation. How do we make this happen? We need Ben to be
Schwartz, friends. If you're listening, and I'm sure you are, come on our podcast, come hang out. We'd love to chat all things comedy, improv, and Severance. The Trammell moment was amazing.
Oh yeah, the band.
And I legitimately leaned over to Kali when they were like, we don't know where Trammell is. I was like, he's going to make a big entrance. He is. I know
it. I was like, oh no, I hope he's okay. Because we know he's here. We saw him on the red carpet. What do they mean? He's what? And then Rodnesha was like, no. He always makes an entrance. He's going to make an entrance. But then it seemed like no. Because then Ben Schwartz went on and continued introducing, but we now know what happened.
Yep. It was so funny. So the band was amazing. That was so fun. I unfortunately ruined the video that we had of it by screaming the whole time and forgetting that my mic was like right up on my face.
Yeah, I don't know why you still had your mic on.
I don't know. I think I just forgot. And then it happened and I was like, whatever. But the experience, I saw it. I witnessed it. I was there when it happened. It was great. But then during the panel, Gwendolyn Christie just equally animated, equally charming. And I think it helps because she was a fan of the show who got to be on her favorite show. So she's just like, I'm just so excited to be a part of this. I'm just so happy to be here. Just sharing all these stories. And I was like, oh, that would be me. That'd be me. If I got to be on the show, I'd never want it to end. And then it was over. We watched the screening. We got to the end. Everybody was sad as all get out.
Yeah.
And then they said, all right, time to go.
Well, and then parents out there can relate. I was like, I'm already out. I got to stay out just a little bit longer. So we're like, let's get a drink and debrief before I got to get on the road.
That's right.
I'm never out. I got to get out.
That was funny.
I got to stay out. I'm already out.
You're like, because if I sit down, it's over. It's over. So yeah, we just walked up the street, some random dive bar we could find. The unfortunate part is there was a bar. What was the bar name?
Oh, there was a bar called, was it
Frolic Room? The Frolic Room.
Yeah, the Frolic Room. We were like, oh, we got to go there. It was too far.
It was too far to walk and we would have had to drive. So it was like, never mind. We won't be going there. I don't remember where we ended up going, but it was right up the street. We had a drink. We were like, we did it. Cheers to that. We debriefed.
The bar was full of other people who had clearly just been to the screening too.
Also true. There
was lots of heavy. It was nice. It was funny because I was like trying not to eavesdrop, but I was like, oh, okay, so these are people who waited till the screening to watch the finale, so they're just now processing it, and they're like heavy debates at different tables about
what happened and what should they have done this and that. Yeah. It was entertaining. So we were in good company, and we just kind of gave ourselves a pat on the back and enjoyed a drink and then moseyed on home. And that was pretty much it. It was a good night. It was a long night, but not long in the bad way. But it was just like, wow, we got a lot done in the time that we were here doing stuff. And then, of course, the real process began after with all the editing and putting clips together, adding stuff in, tailoring. I know we talked about this a little bit on the podcast, but just in case there's other takeaways that you had, what would you say were some of your post-Paley experience takeaways?
I am someone who, you know me, I will try anything and everything entertainment related.
Mm-hmm.
I've put my foot in a little bit of everything, but this is not something that I have ever considered or thought that I might be all right at.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I definitely did like a whole bunch of reading about journalism and the intersection with entertainment business and stuff. Um, and I was like, well, that's another little
A little feather in your cap.
avenue, right? I mean, I think it's very millennial to be constantly thinking about how you can pivot.
But at the
But I'm
same
always like,
time,
well,
this is our existence.
right. I'm like, oh, there's another one. There's another one I might be able to
It's
finesse.
true. It's true. And that was another thing I thought too, because I'm like, I'm in a weird nebulous place with acting right now. I don't know what's going to happen with it. I don't know if that'll keep going. If it does, how it'll keep going. But I'm in the same position of like looking for pivots. Like, all right, what do I do? Like, as an actor, my skill set is talking, reacting. It's like it's limited. So I'm like, what do we do? Where else do we go? So that was a good experience to have, to be like, okay, this could potentially be something or yield something. I wouldn't mind doing this or something in this vein or arena. So it was a good
Right.
experience to have. We already talked a little bit in the last pod about just getting through it and being like, man, we are capable of things more than we realize.
Like, that wasn't terrible.
In fact, dare I say, pretty good.
Pretty good. One thing I will say, a takeaway, and it's a takeaway I'm mad about, because
I've got plenty of those.
It's been the common enemy for any type of recording. Doesn't matter what kind of recording you're doing, it's the sound. And we tested those mics and we thought we were good, but we couldn't have prepared for the setup because, we kept getting interrupted by cheers.
Oh my gosh.
Also, we were getting the hang of the mics and the had we had like, stands for the cameras, maybe it would have been easier, blah, blah, blah. We have all these notes for next time, but that is a common thread upon, throughout anything that we have done. Our first film together. Ooh,
oh my gosh.
It's called Looney's House of Yoga.
It'll
it has never been released. It will
day.
never see the light of day because that sound is terrible. That was at least a decade ago now, guys. Our first, y'all are here. Thanks for sticking with us. But our first few podcasts, this sound. I even still had some sound issues because I'm in a different situation this season. But like, I'm just like, the first time, every time, it's the sound.
It's true. It's a death trap. I literally, when I realized how many things I was just like so like peaking loud in, I was like, I am so sorry. My mic, I don't know what happened. Cause like you said, we tested, but once it got so loud in there, and it wasn't just like crowd loud. It was like you said, there's people screaming and cheering and chanting and yelling and wooing and like for a while. And we just weren't ready for that. So I was like, okay, next time we're doing this, we're giving them the mic, we're handing this, we're putting this there, we're making the camera static. But for now, it's a lesson to be learned, and we'll get it right next time. Better luck next time. But you're right. Sound has been our Achilles heel. It's like, why is this always the thing? Anyway,
I was looking for something just yesterday on one of my hard drives, and I saw the Looney file, and I was like, oh, I wish there was a way to finish it. There's not.
I won't go down that road. Or my brain. Looney was one of those things that I was so excited to make and so excited to shoot. I found the trailer that we made. That's probably the most that has gone out into the world. And I remembered seeing it and being like, this was going to be so freaking funny. And no one will ever see it. And like the sound wasn't great. But for me, the death knell was when I got that edit done and I was like near finished and my computer crashed and I lost all of it.
It killed her computer.
And it killed my spirit right along with it.
So then she tried to pass it to me and there was just like, there was just no way for me to like recreate the magic. I tried.
I want to cry sometimes about that.
It's so funny because like all the actors in it kept like asking when we're going to be done. And then eventually Rodnesha just had to like give them a little cuts
of
scenes for the reels because it's not going to happen.
Here's your bit.
Oh,
Here's your
what
bit.
a
I'm so
sad
sorry.
day. I often think about that. Every once in a while, I go back and read the script and I'm like, if we wanted to go back to this and shoot this, we would have to rework the script because it was very topical jokes too for the
Oh,
time.
that's true. That's true.
I was like, dang, so many of these don't work anymore.
No. Okay, we're not going to lament any more than we have. Just know, guys, it was a pretty good script for a first attempt at a short film. We were making things happen, and then it just all came undone in the editing process and just sucks. But yeah, that's our Paley experience, guys. I don't know that there's much else to cover. Like we said, we hope we get invited to do something else again, because we'd love to have the experience again, fine tune the process and explore more of, like you said, that press journalist aspect of what we could do with the pod. We'll see. We don't know if we'll get another invitation or another opportunity. We're fingers crossed, hoping so. For now, we're just going to put that to good use here on the pod as much as we can by trying to bring you guys some interviews, some investigative research into these deep dives, all the stuff that's coming in this post-show season.
Oh yeah, I mean, keep on suggesting stuff.
Oh yeah,
in the comments and the DMs and the things if you have an idea of something you'd like to hear us deep dive on. I think we are definitely going to do the cinematography / director
one.
Like arc one. I think that's a good one. That seems to have some interest.
Yeah. Keep us informed. Let us know what you guys want to hear. And you know how to do that. If you don't, here's how. You can follow us on all of our social platforms, Threads, Blue Sky, TikTok, Instagram, and Lemonade at the UUR Pod. You can also email us at the uurpod@gmail.com, or you can become a patron at patreon.com/the Now would be a great time to become a patron.
This is true.
We're in the off season. We're going to be doing some additional content. I honestly was going to talk to you about doing a reach out to our patrons for special opportunities that we can offer them. So if there are particular things you guys are looking to get from us, we just be, getting that to the patrons. Little perks for them, little any perks. Ooh, we can call them any perks.
Ooh.
Sorry.
There it is.
There it is.
Join the severed floor for your any perks.
Yeah.
That's the name of the tier.
Boom. So yeah, I know there's going to be a lot of people that are still coming to the show and finding our podcast. Welcome for those of you who are just joining up with us and finding us. Consider being a patron. Not only does it help us in terms of producing this show, but it also just helps build our community. It's helping to get this podcast out there. And honestly, it's been good at just giving us a sounding board to bounce things off of. Our patrons have been very vocal with us, not in a bad way, obviously, but letting us know what's working, what they like. I like having them there. It's a little hub to check in with. So if you want to be part of that hub, go check us out on Patreon. Okay. I think that's it, right? Yeah. Rate, review, and subscribe if you haven't already. And share the pod. I feel like you're not a true Severance fan if you're not bullying people to watch the show too. So, go ahead and just tell them to listen to the podcast too. Throw this podcast in while you're at it. Throw it in. We have had some people who have done that. We have gotten some listeners.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
From people who are like, I told my friends to listen to your podcast, so they're going to listen.
Word of mouth is it. It's it.
All right, guys, that's all we have for you today. Stay on the lookout. As we mentioned, the next thing up we have is our interview with Mark Geller. Mm-hmm. That'll be coming out soon. And then, we'll have a good little lineup for you guys of some summer content, summer/fall, however long this little interim period lasts.
Oh, geez.
All right. Later, guys. We're going to go to bed where we clearly need to be. Adios. Have a good night, day, whatever.
Bye.
Bye.